The marketplace of Zorath was alive with noise and color. Strange shapes moved in every direction, their bodies shining with scales, feathers, or glowing skin. Ships hovered above the market, dropping off goods from distant worlds. Leora walked among the stalls, her long legs carrying her with grace and authority. She was tall, with skin that shimmered faintly under the bright lights, and her sharp eyes moved quickly, scanning every detail. She had been coming to markets like this for many years. But today was different. Today, she was looking for something very specific. The air smelled of burning metal, alien spices, and the faint scent of something sweet. Merchants shouted their offers in dozens of languages, hoping to catch a buyer's attention. Some sold weapons that could cut through the hardest alloys. Others offered food from distant planets, rare and exotic, that only the richest aliens could afford. And in the corner of one shadowed corridor, hidden behind a pile of crates, was a stall unlike any other. Chains rattled softly as a small figure shifted inside a cage. It was a human boy. His skin was pale, and his brown hair was matted and dusty. He looked no older than 12, though it was hard to tell in humans. His eyes were wide and dark, filled with fear, but also something else. Something Leora noticed immediately. That spark, that stubborn fire, burned bright in him. Most aliens would not see it. They would see only weakness, a fragile human. But Leora saw potential. The boy's name was Ethan. He had been sold and resold many times. He did not know his father, and his mother had been lost long ago. He had lived in chains most of his life, carrying heavy loads for creatures far stronger than he was. Every day had been a fight for survival. The chain that held him now was rough against his small wrists, and the metal bit into his skin. The merchant, a fat, green-scaled alien, laughed as he adjusted the cage. "Look at this one," the merchant said to anyone who passed. "A human boy. Fragile, weak, and cheap. Who would want him?" Most of the crowd ignored him. Humans were considered pests by many alien species. Some laughed at them. Some hunted them for sport. Some used them for work, for labor that no alien wanted to do. But Leora did not laugh. She stopped in front of the cage and looked at Ethan closely. She knelt slightly so her face was closer to his. The boy flinched at first, expecting a scream, a hit, or something cruel. But Leora only smiled softly. Her eyes were steady, almost gentle, and for the first time in a long time, Ethan felt a little of the fear inside him lessen. "You are not like the others," Leora said quietly. Her voice was soft but strong. "There is something inside you. Something they cannot see. I can see it." Ethan blinked, unsure what to say. He had been told all his life that he was weak, that he was useless. But her words felt different. They were not empty promises. They were truth. Or at least, something closer to truth than he had heard in a long time. The merchant noticed her interest and scowled. "She wants him? You cannot take him. He is mine. He is for sale, yes, but he is rare. You must pay double for a human with spirit." Leora did not move fast, but her presence made the merchant uneasy. Her reputation in certain circles was well known. She had wealth, power, and influence. Most merchants would fear her before they would try to cheat her. She placed her hand lightly on the edge of the cage, and her voice, calm and certain, made everyone around her quiet. "I will pay the price," she said. "Name it." The merchant grinned, thinking he had a chance to make a fortune. "Very well," he said, his voice loud so everyone could hear. 1,000 credits, no less. He is strong in spirit, though small in body. A human like this does not come often. Leora reached into her satchel and produced a small, shining metal box. She pressed a button, and it opened with a soft click, revealing a pile of credits inside. She placed them on the counter. The merchant's eyes widened. Such a sum was impressive, even for him. Without hesitation, Leora lifted the cage carefully. She felt the boy tense, his body stiff, ready to struggle or cry. But she spoke again, softly, just for him. "Do not be afraid, Ethan. You are coming with me, and I will take care of you. You will learn. You will grow. And one day, they will all see what you are truly capable of." The boy's eyes widened at her words. It was the first time anyone had spoken to him like that. The first time anyone had believed in him. His lips parted, but no sound came out. He had no words for the mix of fear, relief, and curiosity swirling inside him. Leora lifted him out of the cage, supporting him gently. She felt his small frame tremble, but he did not struggle. Something about her presence made him trust her, even when he should not have. The merchants whispered among themselves, shocked that someone had spent so much for a human child. Many were used to humans being treated poorly, but Leora had broken that expectation in a single moment. They walked through the crowded corridors together. Ethan clung to her side, glancing around at the strange, alien world that seemed to stretch endlessly. His mind was racing. Who was this creature who had purchased him? Would she hurt him? Would she feed him? Would she train him? Would she even allow him to survive? She ignored the stares and murmurs of the crowd. They passed through narrow alleys, past glowing signs that advertised everything from weapons to pets to rare artifacts. Leora's starship was not far. The route was familiar to her, and she moved with a confidence that made it clear she had done this before. But Ethan had never seen anything like it. His heart beat fast in his chest, both from fear and from excitement. When they reached the starship, Leora set him down on the cold metal floor. The interior was sleek, with smooth walls and glowing panels that lit the room softly. It smelled faintly of metal and machines, but not unpleasantly. She gestured to a small cot in the corner. "You will sleep here tonight," she said. "Tomorrow, your lessons begin." Ethan looked around, still cautious. "Lessons?" he asked, his voice small. "Yes," Leora replied. "You will learn to survive, to fight, to think beyond what you have ever known. The galaxy is full of danger. You will need to be ready for anything." Ethan swallowed hard. He had never fought before. He had never learned anything except how to carry things, how to obey, and how to stay alive a little longer. But there was something in Leora's eyes that gave him hope. Maybe he could learn. Maybe he could become strong. Maybe he could finally be more than a weak human. Leora watched him carefully. She could see the fear in his eyes, but also the determination starting to bloom. That spark she had noticed in the market, the stubborn fire was still there. And she knew that, with the right guidance, it could become something incredible. "Rest now," she said. "Tomorrow, everything changes." Ethan lay on the cot, staring at the glowing ceiling of the starship. He thought about the chains he had been in, the merchants who had sold him, and the lonely nights he had endured. Now, for the first time, he felt a strange sense of safety. Not comfort, exactly, but safety. And in the quiet hum of the ship, he began to imagine a future he had never dared to dream of. A future where he was not just a human in chains, but someone important, someone strong. Leora stood by the doorway, watching him sleep. She could feel his potential radiating like a faint light. He was small, young, and fragile by human standards, but he had something that most aliens could never understand. Humans had a quality that made them unpredictable. Unpredictable and dangerous. In ways even the most advanced alien minds could not calculate. The galaxy had ignored humans for too long. That was about to change. And Ethan, the boy who had been sold and chained, would be the reason. Leora smiled faintly. She had purchased him from chains, but what she had really done was claim the first piece of a force that the universe would not be able to ignore. The morning light of the starship glowed softly through the windows, illuminating the sleek metal floors and walls. Ethan sat up on the cot, rubbing his eyes. The hum of the engines was steady and calm, but his heart raced. He had slept more than he had in months. Yet the chains of his past still clung to his mind. The memory of the market, the cages, the merchants, they were fresh, but less frightening now. Somehow, With Leora, it felt different. Somehow, he felt safer. Leora stood nearby, her hands folded behind her back, watching him carefully. She had never raised a human before, never trained one in the ways that she believed could make him more than just a weak species. Yet Ethan had something that few could teach. There was fire in his eyes, stubborn and bright, a determination to survive no matter the odds. It reminded her of why she had purchased him, why she had taken a chance. Most humans were small, fragile, and weak, but every once in a while, one had something special. "Get up, Ethan," she said, her voice calm but firm. "Today, your lessons begin." Ethan swung his legs over the cot and looked at her, nervous. "Lessons? What will I have to do?" "Everything," Leora said. "Everything that will make you stronger, faster, smarter. You will not be the same human you were yesterday." He swallowed hard. He had carried heavy loads before, but he had never fought. He had never trained with weapons or learned how to survive in a world full of creatures stronger than himself. Fear twisted in his stomach, but beneath it, curiosity and excitement began to grow. Maybe, just maybe, he could do this. Maybe he could prove that humans were more than the galaxy believed. The first lesson began with physical training. Leora led him to the training room, a large area with smooth floors, walls that could withstand energy blasts, and equipment designed for alien combat. She demonstrated movements that were fast and precise, her long limbs moving with power and grace. Ethan tried to mimic her, but at first, he stumbled. His small human body was not built like hers, and every movement felt awkward. "Focus," Leora said. "Strength is not only in your arms, strength is in your mind. You must think before you move." Ethan nodded, biting his lip. He tried again. This time, his movements were slightly better. He could feel his body adjusting, learning to respond in ways it never had before. Hours passed with Leora guiding him, correcting his stance, teaching him to balance, to punch, to kick, and to dodge. By the end of the first day, his muscles ached, and his skin was sore. But he felt a new energy. For the first time, he felt that he could actually fight, that he could survive in ways he had never imagined. After physical training, Leora moved on to mental exercises. She placed a small device in front of him that projected holographic images of alien creatures, each more dangerous than the last. The creatures moved unpredictably, and Ethan had to react quickly, dodging and striking with precise timing. At first, he failed. He tripped, stumbled, and nearly fell to the floor. But Leora never scolded him. She only watched, her eyes sharp and calm, waiting for him to understand. "You are too slow to react," she said finally. "You must anticipate, not just respond. Humans are small, but they can be clever. Use your mind as well as your body." Ethan concentrated, his mind stretching in ways it never had. He imagined the movements before they happened, predicting where the creatures would strike, where they would move. Slowly, he began to succeed. Each hit he landed, each dodge he made, gave him more confidence. Leora nodded, her sharp eyes approving. By evening, Ethan was exhausted but exhilarated. He had pushed his body further than he thought possible. He had used his mind in ways he had never tried. And for the first time, he understood something important. Humans were underestimated for a reason. Aliens judged them by their size, their strength, and their appearance. But humans had something aliens often lacked: ingenuity, adaptability, and heart. Leora allowed him a short rest, and he sat on the floor, breathing heavily. His small hands rubbed at his sore muscles, but a smile formed on his face. I think I can do this," he said softly. "You can," Leora replied. "But this is only the beginning. Tomorrow, we will train with weapons. You will learn to use tools and technology in ways you never imagined." Ethan's stomach twisted with both fear and excitement. Weapons. He had seen them in the market, in the hands of aliens, but he had never held one. He had never fought for his life with something other than his bare hands, yet the thought thrilled him. He wanted to prove himself. He wanted to show Leora and maybe even the galaxy that humans were capable of far more than anyone believed. The next morning, Leora brought him to a weapons training room. There were racks of alien swords, energy blasters, and small devices that could explode or immobilize opponents. She handed him a small blade, lighter than most human swords, but still sharp and powerful. "Pick it up," she said. "Feel its weight. Become one with it." Ethan hesitated at first, unsure how to hold it. But Leora guided his hands, showing him the proper grip, how to balance his weight, how to swing without overexerting himself. He struck the training dummies in front of him, clumsily at first, but steadily improving. Leora watched every movement, correcting his mistakes, praising his successes. Hours turned into days, and days into weeks. Ethan grew stronger, faster, and smarter with every passing moment. He learned to move silently, to strike with precision, to think like a predator in a world full of predators. The chains that had bound him as a child were gone, but their lessons remained. He had learned to survive. Now he was learning to thrive. During breaks, Leora told him stories of the galaxy of wars, of heroes, of creatures that no human had ever seen. She told him about politics, about strategy, about the importance of intelligence and foresight. Ethan listened intently, absorbing every word. He asked questions, and sometimes Leora would smile, impressed by his curiosity. Humans were small, but their minds could stretch in ways aliens rarely expected. One day, as Ethan practiced dodging a moving obstacle course, Leora stood to the side and observed him closely. He had fallen many times, but he had risen every time, learning from each mistake. His body was lean and strong now, his movements sharper and quicker. He was no longer the timid, chained boy from the market. He was becoming something new. "You are improving faster than I expected," Leora said. "Most humans would have given up long ago. But you have fire. And fire is rare in this galaxy." Ethan's chest swelled with pride. He had never been praised before. Even the smallest compliment from Leora felt like sunlight breaking through a long, dark night. "Will I ever be as strong as you?" he asked, his voice quiet but earnest. Leora's eyes softened. "Stronger. Perhaps not in body, but in ways that matter even more. Humans have something aliens do not always understand: adaptability. You can learn, change, and think in ways that no alien mind can predict. That is your strength. And soon, the galaxy will learn it too." The weeks passed quickly. Ethan trained tirelessly, mastering weapons, combat, strategy, and survival. He began to understand alien languages and customs, learning to navigate worlds that had once been impossible for him. His confidence grew, and with it, a sense of purpose. He was no longer a boy sold in chains. He was a student, a fighter, a human with potential far beyond what anyone had imagined. Leora watched him closely, noting every improvement, every spark of ingenuity. She had never seen a human with such determination. Many aliens had dismissed humans as weak and unimportant, but Ethan was proving them all wrong. With guidance and training, he could become a force that no alien could ignore. One evening, as the starship floated silently above the purple clouds of a distant planet, Ethan approached Leora. I think I understand now," he said. "I am not just a human who survives. I can fight. I can think. I can make a difference." Leora nodded, a faint smile on her lips. "Yes, Ethan. That is why I chose you. The galaxy may not notice humans yet, but it will. And when it does, it will be because of people like you, humans, who refuse to be small, who refuse to be weak, who refuse to be forgotten." Ethan felt a surge of pride and determination. He had been chained, sold, and treated as nothing. But now, under Leora's guidance, he was becoming something extraordinary. He was learning that size did not matter, that strength could come from the mind as well as the body, and that courage was often stronger than fear. As he looked out at the stars, shining bright in the endless darkness of space, Ethan realized that his life had changed forever. He was no longer a human in chains. He was a human with power, potential, and a purpose. And with Leora by his side, he would face the galaxy not as a weak child, but as a force that no one would underestimate. The galaxy had ignored humans for too long, but Ethan knew that would not last, and he was ready to prove it. The arena was nothing like Ethan had imagined. From the outside, it looked like a simple structure, a place where aliens came to show strength and skill. But when they entered, the space inside was massive, far bigger than the starship, with high walls and platforms that reached toward the ceiling. Lights flashed across the room, casting shadows that made it hard to tell where danger might come from. The air smelled sharp, metallic, and faintly of ozone. Leora led Ethan to the center of the arena, where the floor was smooth but marked with scratches and dents from previous battles. "Stay close to me at first," Leora said, her voice calm and firm. "Observe before you act. Then you will strike. Understand the space around you and the creatures you face. Never underestimate them." Clues 2. 1. Clues. Ethan nodded, gripping the small blade Leora had given him tightly. His muscles were tense, but his mind was alert. He had trained for weeks, learning alien combat, strategy, and survival skills. He felt stronger than ever, but this was different. In the arena, there would be no guidance except his own instincts. A gate at the far side of the arena opened with a loud hiss, and the first opponent appeared. It was a creature taller than Leora, with long arms ending in sharp claws, glowing eyes, and thick scales covering its body. It growled, low and dangerous, and stepped toward Ethan. Most humans would have frozen or screamed, but Ethan did not. He remembered Leora's lessons. He observed the creature, noting the way it moved, the rhythm of its steps, and the way its claws twitched. "Remember," Leora whispered. "Think before you act. Predict its moves, then strike." Ethan nodded again. He shifted his weight, keeping low to the ground. The creature lunged, claws outstretched. Ethan ducked and rolled, narrowly avoiding the attack. His small body was quick, faster than the creature expected. He slashed with his blade, catching the creature's leg, and it hissed in surprise. The fight was chaotic, and the creature came at him again and again, but Ethan's mind worked as fast as his body. He remembered every lesson Leora had taught him. He dodged, struck, and used the terrain to his advantage. Leora watched silently from the side, impressed. Many aliens would have tried to overpower the creature with brute strength, but Ethan was clever. He adapted, learned its patterns, and used his size and speed to turn the fight in his favor. Slowly, he wore the creature down, and with one precise strike, he disabled it completely. The arena doors opened, and the defeated creature left, retreating into a side chamber. Ethan dropped to his knees, breathing heavily, sweat running down his face. He felt exhausted but exhilarated. For the first time, he realized just how far he had come. He had faced a creature stronger than him and survived. More than that, he had won. "That was good," Leora said softly, walking over. "You predicted its movements and adapted. Most aliens would have failed." Ethan looked at her, wide-eyed. I did it?" "Yes," Leora replied. "And this is only the beginning. There will be more challenges, more creatures, more opponents. Each will be different. Each will test you in new ways. But you have shown something very important. You can think. You can survive. You can win." The next opponent appeared through the arena doors. This one was smaller than the first but faster, with multiple legs that allowed it to climb walls and jump great distances. It screeched as it landed on the floor, circling Ethan like a predator. His heart pounded, but he did not panic. He focused, remembering Leora's lessons about observation and anticipation. He moved cautiously, keeping his distance while looking for an opening. The creature lunged at him, and he rolled to the side, slashing at its legs. It screeched again and tried to jump toward him. But Ethan was ready. He dodged, moved behind it, and struck a weak spot near its abdomen. The creature fell, twitching, and finally stopped moving. Ethan's breathing was heavy now. His muscles were sore, his hands cut from gripping his blade too tightly. But he felt alive in a way he never had before. Leora stepped closer, her eyes sharp. "You are improving rapidly," she said. "Do you see it, Ethan? Humans are underestimated because most are weak or afraid. But you are learning to use your mind as much as your body. That is what makes you dangerous." Ethan nodded, pride swelling in his chest. He had always been small and weak, always treated as less than the aliens around him. But now, for the first time, he felt like he could truly matter. The fights continued, each one more difficult than the last. A creature with 4 heads, each snapping independently. A swarm of small, fast creatures that moved in perfect coordination. And even a mechanical opponent that used energy blasts and fast movements to attack him. Each time, Ethan observed, adapted, and struck with precision. He stumbled occasionally, took hits that left bruises and scratches, but he learned from every mistake. Leora remained close but did not interfere. She allowed him to fail, to struggle, to discover his own solutions. She knew that strength without strategy was useless. Humans had the potential for strategy and adaptability, and Ethan was beginning to show it. By the end of the day, Ethan stood in the center of the arena, covered in sweat and dirt, breathing heavily but smiling. He had survived every opponent, overcome every obstacle, and learned more about his own abilities than he ever thought possible. "You have done well today," Leora said. "Most aliens would have been defeated by now. You have not only survived, you have excelled." Ethan looked around the arena, feeling a sense of accomplishment he had never known. He had been chained, sold, and treated as worthless, but now he had proven himself. He had faced danger, fought powerful creatures, and come out stronger. For the first time, he understood what Leora had seen in him, the spark that made humans special. "That was amazing," he said quietly. "I never thought I could do something like this." "You can," Leora replied. "But remember, this is only the beginning. The galaxy is full of creatures, aliens, and dangers that are far stronger than these. You must continue to train, continue to grow, and never forget what you have learned here." Ethan nodded, determination shining in his eyes. He had felt fear, but he had faced it. He had felt doubt, but he had overcome it. And now, he knew that humans were capable of more than most aliens could imagine. As they left the arena, Leora placed a hand on his shoulder. "The galaxy has ignored humans for too long," she said softly. "But now, they will begin to notice. And when they do, they will see that humans are not to be underestimated. Not because of size or strength, but because of courage, intelligence, and heart." Ethan looked up at her, understanding the weight of her words. He had been a small, weak boy chained in a market, sold like an object. But now, he was becoming something different, something stronger, something that could change the way the galaxy saw humans forever. Over the next few days, Leora continued to push him. She introduced new challenges, complex mazes with traps, alien warriors who were trained to fight from childhood, and puzzles that tested both mind and body. Ethan learned to think quickly, move faster, and strike with precision. Every day, he grew stronger and more confident. One evening, after a particularly difficult set of challenges, Ethan collapsed onto the floor, exhausted but satisfied. Leora knelt beside him, her eyes softening. "You have done well," she said. "You have learned faster than I expected. Soon, you will not only be able to survive in the galaxy, you will be able to excel in it. And that is something few humans have ever achieved." Ethan smiled weakly, feeling a warmth in his chest. For the first time in his life, he felt capable. He felt important. He felt like he could make a difference. And in that moment, he realized that being human was not a weakness, it was a strength. The spark that had burned inside him, the fire that Leora had seen in the market, was now blazing brightly. The galaxy would soon learn that humans were not to be ignored. And Ethan, once a boy in chains, would be the one to show them. As he lay down to rest that night, his mind replayed the events of the day, the fights, the strategy, the victories. He felt tired, but alive. More alive than ever. He knew that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new dangers, and new opportunities to prove himself. But he was ready, and the galaxy would soon see the true power of a human who refused to be small.